If you told me in 2017 that LaMelo Ball would become one of the most underrated players in basketball one day, I would have called you crazy. But we are here now, and it feels like he is. LaMelo is one of the better point guards in the NBA. In my opinion, easily one of the 5 to 10 best playmakers in the world. A player who has proven he is all-star caliber in his second NBA season. But people tend to hold the lack of team success against LaMelo, but I feel like that's unjustified. This is truly a special talent, one that deserves to be in conversations with other great young players in the NBA, which is what I want to talk about in this video. But quickly, before we go any further, if you're new and like basketball, I would really appreciate if you would like, subscribe, and hit notification bell to be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the 2 best ways can help me out in the YouTube algorithm, and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Let me know in the comment section how many wins you think the Hornets will have this season. Also, Herzog Hoops Podcast, Episode 3 with Desmond Novak is out now. Link to that in the description below and pinned comment. Anyways, let's talk about LaMelo Ball. Here's why I believe LaMelo Ball is a great point guard. He's a good shooter, he has an elite handle, he creates off the dribble, he's a high field player overall, and he's a generational playmaker. These are the baseline skill sets required to be a star point guard in the NBA, and LaMelo has them. I think LaMelo Ball is underrated as a shooter. I would argue he's one of the better shooters in the NBA right now. Career 37.7% on 7.5 attempts per game. In 2022, he made the All-Star team and was at 38.9% on 7.5 attempts per game. This past season, he was at 37.6% on 10.6 attempts per game. He's a really good catch-and-shoot player. This past season, he was at 40.4% on 5.5 catch-and-shoot 3-point attempts per game. In 2022, he was at 42.5% on 4.4 catch-and-shoot attempts per game from 3. To me, LaMelo is a more than capable off-bounce creator from 3, but I would argue he's elite as a catch-and-shoot player as well. This is why I believe LaMelo is more lineup and role versatile than given credit for. He's a versatile shooter that's capable of playing on and off the ball, which is why I think the idea of him and Scoot being a potentially bad fit was a ridiculous narrative. 3-point shooting is a big part of LaMelo's scoring arsenal, as 46% of his career field goal attempts are from 3. And in fact, he also took more 3s than 2s this past season. He showcases a good shot diet, capability of hitting tough shots, and shooting versatility, which is why I believe he's one of the better shooters in the NBA. Now, what truly makes LaMelo special is his playmaking. His feel, vision, and creativity are well beyond his years and are among the best in the NBA. And this has been true since even before he entered the NBA. He has had NBA caliber traits and intangibles as a playmaker since he was 16, 17 years old. He has some of the best court vision in the NBA. He's one of the highest field players in the NBA. He's an accurate passer. He's one of the 5 most creative passers in the league, and I think there's an argument for him over everyone that isn't Nikola Jokic in the league in terms of passing creativity. He manipulates defenses with no looks, behind the backs, and pass fakes to throw defenses off. Those aren't just things he does to look cool and be on highlights. It's a legit effective tool in his game. He's one of the best playmakers I've ever seen, and to this day I have not evaluated a prospect that's a better playmaker than him. He understands his gravity as a player. He's a good enough scorer to open up opportunities for teammates. Contrary to popular belief, he does make those around him better, which is why I believe Brandon Miller will have a really good rookie season. But what makes LaMelo stand out as a playmaker is his unpredictability. or should I say, his understanding of his unpredictability and how he weaponizes it against opposing defenses. He knows the moment he touches the basketball, the defense doesn't know what he's going to do. He can find an open teammate, he can drive and kick, he can pull up and take a jumper, he can throw it behind the back. He just has an arsenal of skills and abilities that are all real possibilities no matter where he is on the court. And that's what makes him special. And defenses, again, just don't know what is going to happen, which allows him to use that to his advantage to always keep defenses on their heels. We have seen other great playmakers use scoring and playmaking dominance to control a game, like Luka, LeBron, Jokic, and Trey. But it's different with LaMelo, because he has an ability to pull off passes that nobody else can. He sees things that even the best playmakers don't see, and it really makes him stand out amongst his peers. It's not just about scoring with him. It's not just about passing with him. It's not about how he uses both those things to control a game. He does use both those things to control a game. But it's about how he harnesses unpredictability and borderline reckless processing to his advantage, which is what makes him so unique as a playmaker. Now, LaMelo isn't perfect by any means. If he was perfect, we wouldn't be having this discussion. The narrative around him would be different, and he would be the best player in the world. Because if a player was perfect, they would be the best in the world, because right now, there isn't a perfect player in the NBA. He has one major swing factor as an offensive player, in my opinion, and that's his ability as a finisher. Simply put, he's not a good finisher at the basket. He does showcase a good floater, he does have good touch, he does have good counters and body control, but his lack of strength limits him as a rim pressure threat and limits his aggression as a driver, which does lead to him settling for jumpers. His lack of rim pressure, finishing ability, and foul drawing is what separates guys like Luka Doncic and Trae Young from him as an overall player, even if he's just as, if not more, gifted than both of them as a pure passing playmaker. This is the one area that I see a real flaw with LaMelo. But I also think it's a swing factor that speaks to how good of a player he is, because it's not a factor in is he good or not, because he's good already. Rather, it's a swing factor in how great he can be. It's a swing factor between being a 20 to 23 point per game scorer and a 25 plus point per game scorer. Basically, to me, it's the difference between him putting up numbers that are similar to what peak D'Angelo Russell did in Brooklyn and that one season in Golden State, but being a more effective player with those numbers, and being a guy that puts up numbers that are similar to Luka Doncic to a certain extent, but maybe not being quite on the same level as Luka as a player. And that's no disrespect to LaMelo, because Luka is just that talented, but I could see his finishing ability being the determining factor between those two outcomes purely numbers wise. But at the same time, even with this flaw, he's proven he's a star level talent. He's proven he's a primary playmaker in the NBA. His finishing ability will be the factor of if he's just a really good star, which he already is, and a superstar. I think LaMelo is easily one of the best point guards in the NBA, easily one of the best young players in the NBA, and I think he should be talked about more positively than he is. People talk about his lack of impact on winning. I don't agree with that, because at 20 years old, he was the engine and an all-star caliber player on a 43-win team. He's made the play-in tournament in 66% of his seasons in the NBA. Granted, that's only 2 for 3, but I don't think it's a coincidence the one year they don't make the play-in was the year that he only played 36 games. I'm not saying LaMelo is this MVP caliber player. His career win percentage is 46.3%. It's not good. but it's also not like he's playing on a good team either. It's not like he's Luka or LeBron. He's a good player, but he's not the caliber of player that those two are, where we expect them to drag a team to the playoffs. So I don't think he should be held to that kind of standard. He does have a season as well where they won 43 games, and he was a big reason for that. I just find it interesting because Halliburton only has 4 more career wins while playing 30 more games than LaMelo in the same amount of years. And that's not me saying Halliburton isn't a good player or a great player, because he is a great player. But it's odd to me that LaMelo has a better career win percentage and has more above 500 seasons as the ensign of a team. And the narrative around LaMelo is that he's a losing player that doesn't contribute to winning basketball, while the narrative around Halliburton feels different. I'm not saying the narrative around Halliburton is all positive. He definitely does have his haters. Spoiler alert, the next video is about him. But it is odd to me that the same people who talk so positively about Halliburton and where they rank him compared to the way they talk about LaMelo and where they rank him. What I'm saying is that the narrative around LaMelo and the discourse around him should be more positive from those who view Halliburton highly, because I think both of them are really good and deserve to be talked about positively. LaMelo is a special talent, a guy with all NBA upside. I won't go as far to say superstar, because I do think the finishing is a real swing factor, and it really will have to take a massive jump for him to reach superstar heights, and it doesn't feel overly realistic to believe that is the case. But I do think that he does have all NBA upside as like a 23-24 point per game, like 7+ rebound per game, 8+ assists per game guy that's a really good shooter and one of the best playmakers in the world. He's proven more than what he's given credit for at such a young age. This isn't the same kid who cherry-picked a bunch and scored 92 points in high school. This isn't the wild child of a reality TV show anymore. He's grown up. He's matured. He's refined his game. He's become an unselfish player that wants to make those around him better. He's proven he is a star in the best league in the world. He's changed a lot since he was 15, 16 years old. And I think the narrative and discourse around him should change as well. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the 2 best ways you can help me out in the YouTube algorithm and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Let me know what you think about LaMelo Ball. How good do you think he is? How good do you think he can be in the future? Love to do all that in the comment section below. Again, check out Herzog Hoops Podcast Episode 3 with Desmond Novak. We talked about 2K. We did our NFL award predictions. We talked about baseball players being baseball players, things like that. So, if that interests you, link to that in the description below and pinned comment. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.